Hello guys, I'm Max from Tutorial Tech Tutors, and today I'm bringing you a new series called How to Make a Professional Minecraft Server. This is part 1 of the series, so it's going to be about probably 6 parts, if not more or less, I don't know, but probably about 6. Basically, I'll be showing you how to get lots of players on your server, how to build a community, and how to install some awesome plugins to make the experience for your players a lot more fun, and more fun for you in fact. So, on to the next slide. What's covered in this tutorial? We're basically creating a folder for the server to be located. We'll be downloading Bukkit, which is the source for all the plugins and such, and server settings. Well, not server settings, but yeah, mainly plugins for the server. We'll be creating a batch file to execute a Java file in order to run the server. We'll be adjusting server settings, and then we'll be saving it, and then preparing for the second part of this tutorial series. So, you can read all that on the screen. I won't be reading it all out, but that's just the overview of what we'll be doing in this tutorial. If you already know how to do this, feel free to move on to the next tutorial in the playlist. If not, just stay here for some reassurance and that'll be good. Anyway, back to the screen. Hello again guys, it's Max from Tutorial Tech Tutors, and now we're not in PowerPoint anymore, of course. We're on in our internet browser, which my chosen one is Google Chrome. So the first step we're going to do is not go in Google Chrome. In fact, we're going to go onto our desktop. I've got a blank desktop here, doesn't really matter, just do whatever. Right click, new folder, call your folder a suitable name for your Minecraft server. So Minecraft server is a good one, I think. Minecraft server, but I'm going to call my Minecraft server tutorial so I can distinguish which one's mine and which one's the server for the tutorial. What we do, we'll open this and then we'll come back to that in a minute. Next, we sort of need some prerequisites before we, well, not really prerequisites, we just need the Bukkit server thing, jar. So go into Google, search Bukkit, which is Bukkit, go on to bukkit.org, right, now when we're here, you can choose what sort of version of craftbukkit you want. And craftbukkit is just the server software. So if you want it for 1.6.2, which is the current version, you can download that. If you want it for 1.7 beta, you can go back that far and download it if you really want to. So I think what we'll do is go into Get Craftbukkit in the top tab, and then what you're going to want to do is download Craftbukkit recommended build. Now, you don't have to download the recommended build. If you like to, you can go into Get Bukkit, is it? Yeah. If you go at the side here, when you click on Get Craftbukkit on the website, Get Bukkit, and that will take you to dl.bukkit.org. And here, you can go into alternate versions, and if you click that, it's got a list of all the builds of Bukkit that's ever been invented. So you can go back to page 38 and look at these, like, look at this 1.0, wow, lots of versions. Anyway, but from here I'm going to download the latest beta build. Actually no, I'll download the latest development build. I'm just going to download the latest one. There you go, and then click download. And this should download a jar. Of course, I don't strongly recommend you download a development build. I think the safest option for you is to download Craftbukkit recommended build, but at the moment that's 1.5, which is the version before the current one, 1.6. So I do actually recommend that you go into Get Bukkit, alternate versions, choose a version in here, download it like I'm doing now, and yeah, and once this is downloaded, should I pause? No, I shouldn't. I'll just wait a minute. Download may be quite slow, even if you have good internet, because of the amount of people trying to download it at once, but it shouldn't take too long. Right, mine's done now, and it should be something called Craftbukkit dash the version, and then some random stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to where the file's located, which is in my downloads folder, right here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag and drop this into my server folder, like so. Next, as instructed on the Bukkit website, it tells us to create a batch file. So to make a batch file, you have to open up a text editor. It's quite easy just to do it in Notepad, so I'm going to open up Notepad. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this on the website, from the website, into this text file, like so. But when you're doing this, you have to make sure that you're doing it for your correct operating system. So I'm doing it on Windows, like the majority of the viewers will be doing it on. But there's also Linux and Mac if you want to. So yeah, copy and paste that into a text file in Notepad or Notepad++, and I'm going to explain what this does. So this here is the XMX, and then these 4 numbers, or however many numbers are there. That is how much RAM, system memory, a random access memory on your computer you can allocate to the server when it runs. So let's say you have an 8 gig of RAM in your computer, then you might want to allocate 2048, that's 2 gig. 1024 is 1 gig. You keep on adding 1024 each time for each gig you want to allocate. But yeah, I'm just going to keep that on the default 1024. That's 1 gig of RAM. Of course, if you don't actually have a lot of RAM in your computer, I would suggest you go down to half of this, which is 512. But I think most people would have a fair amount of RAM in their computer, so keep it at 1024 and that'll be fine. Alright, next. This is the executable jar that it's going to want to run from. So this is called craftbukkit.jar. But in our folder, we don't have something called craftbukkit.jar. So what we're going to do is right click, rename, and change this long bit just down to craftbukkit, like so. Because now, that's craftbukkit here is the same as what it is in the file. So now you file, save as, and then save it as something like run, and then put .bat for batch file. So I'm just going to save that as run.bat, and then I'm going to find my server folder, and I'm going to click save in there. So now, you can close that, we've got a run Windows batch file in here. If you double click on this, it should start loading the server. It's executed the craftbukkit jar file, and it started to load a world. What else has it done? Run the server, put settings on the server. So yeah, it's just going to create a world. It's created the main world, the end, and the nether. Right, so that's done now. As you can see, it's done. It was done in 14.670 seconds. To stop the server, you just type in the console stop, stop. And that should save the server, save everything in the world, the players, where they were last located, etc. Press any key to continue. There you are, and done. So now we have all our files in here needed for our Bukkit professional Minecraft server. So I think next we can go and adjust some server settings. By the way, if you're unsure, just say something in the comments, or if you are stuck on how to make the batch file and stuff, when you go onto the Bukkit website, like this, get craftbukkit, it does actually have instructions here, which I'll put in the description for you guys, in case you didn't understand me, because I'm weird and confusing. If you just follow this, that'll be fine. So next, we're going to change some server settings. So locate the file that says server, and make sure it's the properties file, not the log file. Right click and edit, or edit with Notepad++. I'll put a link to that in the description. That is a personal favourite for me, Notepad++, because it's really clear and doesn't jumble things around like Notepad. So these are all our server settings. We can allow nether. So I'm actually going to put false, because I don't want the nether. I'm going to change my level name to tutorial. Actually no, I'll change it to main. Change it to main, because if we're going to make a professional server, we're actually going to have separate worlds which the players can go into. So if we use this one as the main world, we can have other worlds such as creative, survival, PvP, etc. Enable query, keep that as false. Allow flight, you can keep that as false if you want to, or if you want players to be able to fly using hacks, etc., you can change that to true, but most people don't. On a professional server, I wouldn't put that as true. Server port, when we get into port forwarding in the next tutorial, I believe, I'll tell you about that, but keep that as 25565, although you can adjust the port to something else. Level type, default, you can also change that to FALT for flatland, but I'm going to keep that as default, because I just want a normal world. You can add a seed for your world, so I'm going to do hello world, that's my seed. Force game mode, do you want players to be forced into game mode? No, we don't. Server IP, keep that as nothing, because we're going to be port forwarding. Max build height, keep that as 256. Spawn NPCs, I'm going to put that as false because I don't want any NPCs spawning. Whitelist false, don't want a whitelist. Spawn animals, yeah, we'll keep that on. Snooper enabled, that means I think Mojang can see all your server settings. Doesn't really matter, but I'll change that to false. Hardcore, nope, I don't want hardcore on. Texture pack, what you can do here is add a Dropbox link to a texture pack. It has to be a compressed zip file, like a RAR file, and what it does, it automatically downloads the texture pack whenever a player joins the server. That's if they choose to, they have to accept or decline. Online mode true, right, this is important here. Online mode true means people that with a legitimate copy of Minecraft can get on your server, but people that do not own Minecraft can't get on your server. If you change this to false, people that don't own a legitimate copy of Minecraft, they can actually get on if you change that to false, which you don't really want to do unless you have to, but I do not recommend you change that to false. PvP, yeah, we'll keep that as true. Difficulty 1, I think 0 is peaceful, so we'll keep it as peaceful for now, I think. 1 is easy, 2 is normal, and 3 is hard. Game mode, 0, I'm going to keep that as 0 because that's survival. Max players, I'm going to change that to 10 for now. Spawn monsters, true. Generate structures, true. View distance, keep that as 10. If your server starts to come slow, reduce the view distance to about 8 minimum, because that will actually speed up the performance of the server. Message of the day, this is actually what appears. I'll show you now, if I can. Oh, apparently I'm playing offline. But anyway, go onto your Minecraft launcher. Well, no, you don't have to do this, but I'll show you what I mean. MOTD stands for message of the day, and that's what comes up. Like, you see this green text and all that, that is your message of the day that people can see. So I'm going to change this to professional Minecraft server tutorial. And there you go. You can play around with these settings. If you don't understand, just say in the comments or send me a private message, and that's what you do. So Control S to save or file save. I'm going to close that now, and then rerun your server, and that will just recompile everything, change your server settings to how you liked it. As you can see, it's created our new world main. Oh, it's also created the end, and that's done. I'm going to stop it again, and bam, we have a server. So for this tutorial, this is almost over. Actually, I think what I'll do, I'll run this again, and I'll tell you how you can connect to it. Alright, so you double click on your run.batch file. Run.bat file, sorry. You click play on your launcher, whatever. Open up Minecraft, multiplayer, direct connect. Right, and to connect to your own server from your computer, that the computer that it's running on, you can type in 127.0.0.1, and that will connect to the server. There you are. In the console it says my name. I've connected. Bam. Connected to the server. La 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 la. Hey. Yep. Instead of typing 127.0.0.1, you can also type local host, and that's just the same as 127.0.0.1. And that will connect you to the server. So yeah, this is the first part of this tutorial series. I've kind of gone a little bit in depth, but If you didn't understand, send me a private message or put a comment in the description and I'll answer you. I hope you guys enjoyed and benefited from this video. I'll see you all in the next tutorial. Goodbye.